dementia. There's not a day in life that comes to my mind. He doesn't talk about it, but dementia, but someone really in a shop fire, and he talks like I love to talk, but it's just
All what we've done.
That's crazy, eh? Oh, there's you, Johnny. We're all kidding, that's you, Johnny.
We actually, we got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the headquarters was at Green Park. We had vans coming in for Preston Pans, for Mayfield, for Bonnerig, and we coordinated so we all arrived at the same time. And we went in, and I remember the only person that was on the premises was the cleaner. This woman was and she refused to get out. So she was sitting in a seat, so they lifted the seat and taken her out the door and put her in the car park. And then we barricaded ourselves in. We were in for some time. And the guys were on the phones. They were phoning Australia and America and trying to get CNTV to be in crazy stuff. But eventually the police found a way in and we all got charged, but then they never proceeded any further with the charges.
My name is Ronan.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Joe.
And we've been doing this mining heritage thing for a month now. And yeah.
This is our exhibition that we made, that we've been planning for a while, and hope you like it.
We came down yesterday and set it all up for today.
And thank you to all the people who did the miners who did the interviews, and thank you all for coming.
Oh.
This is Blythe Taylor and Grace Hannock interviewing Roy MacDonald on the 15th of June 2022. Are you ready to?
I'm ready, yes, go away.
How would you describe your childhood? Is there any main features?
Well, I was the oldest of three. Father was a miner, mother was a cook, chef. My childhood was varied. Mainly involved football, and I was quite a good swimmer, so I used to go to Portseaton Pond, which is no longer there, but my childhood was good, and school holidays were long, and most school bairns in my time got a job in the holidays. You were working in the fields with the farmers and that kind. My childhood was good.
Was mining like the main employment over a long time?
When I left the school in '61, there were two working mines in Preston Pines, Preston Links and Prestongrange. Prestongrange was the main museum, Preston Links where the greenhouse is. And there was a mine, not a shaft. You shafts that go straight down, mines that go in slopes. There was a mine at what is now Glencairn Autos down towards Londonderry on the Joe Carisway. There was a mine there too, and there were various other pits in Midlothian.
So, do you have any family connections to mining?
My dad. and my granddad both worked in Prestongrange. My great-granddad worked in the west of Scotland, in Lothian.
Were you expected to go into mining, or was it a choice?
I dare say I was expected, but it wasn't my choice. I wanted to go. The careers teacher in my time was a Mr. Tulloch, and I wanted to go to the Navy. I wanted to become what was then called an artificer apprentice, which you picked up the skills were both electrical and mechanical. But I was the oldest, so I always say to my brother and sister, I was sent to the pits. I didn't know how to go.
Were there other jobs like ready, or was it like most of the people like around you, like friends, were they all set to do mining?
The choice for the average laddie, going through the top of the laddies, was the pits, the military, merchant navy, or then there was a lot of fishing, Portsea, Leith, Grattan. But mining was the best. Not many people started the mining long, can you? If you're 5, 10 years in it, you were looking to get out. And most people, when they got a driving licence, they moved on to do other things.
Roughly, how much coal do you think you've mined?
Me? Well, I'll get a wee. Moncton Hall I went for 20 years. With the coal board, and then 5 years with the cooperative I was a member of, and we mined 20 million tonnes in that time.
What was the best thing you've experienced while being in the mines?
Best thing, camaraderie. Just being good neighbours, Ken.
What was a typical day like in the mines?
Early start, 7 o'clock. Catch the bus at the top of the Red Burn at 6 o'clock, down the pit for 7. You could walk half an hour each way to your work. Work 6 hours, back out the pit, wash, home. And then it was pub, football, dancing.
What did it smell like in the mines?
Sweaty. I mean, sweaty. And you must understand, in the mine, air goes one way. Yeah. It comes down the shaft, ventilates the mine, and goes up the other shaft. So, if I'm on the wrong side of you, and you're smelly, I get your smell. You understand?
What was your scariest experience in the mines?
Probably in the shaft. If the winding engine was going too fast, it would cut out, and the brakes would be applied suddenly, and you could be left dangling on the rope, bouncing up and down for a wee bit. And that happened if the winding engine wasn't paying attention. The safety devices would cut in, brakes on, and you're bouncing about.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever...
There was a smell then.
When we went to Newton Grange, we saw the showers, the bathhouse. What was it like to have a shower before you went home?
Great. But there was also everybody helped each other. You couldn't wash your own back, and your mate had to wash your back for you. And everybody was standing communally naked. There was didn't wear your pants. Everybody just mucked in. There were 20 people in a shower. Nobody looked, nobody bothered, but they helped each other to get washed in.
After work, did you socialise mostly with other miners? Like, what pastimes did you have outside work?
Mostly with miners. Pastimes, go to football, playing football, swimming, driving. I passed my test when I was 19. I've always had a car if I was 19. never been disqualified. Socialising was mainly minors, dancing Saturday night, try to get a girlfriend now and again.
My name is Ronan, this is Joey, and this is Daniel, and today's date is the 17th of June 2022. Can you please tell me your name and date of birth?
My name is John Russell. I'm known as Johnny. I've been called Johnny for the school. And my date of birth is the 29/5/1952. We were what they called indentured apprentices, that they guaranteed this type of training for you. And it was on the mining side as well. You could go for qualifications and degrees, and they would take you right up through university, paid for by the National Coal Board, to get a degree in mining or engineering, electrical engineering, surveying, whatever you were doing, whatever you wanted to do within the pit structure. And that was what it did. So after the year at the college, you then done 6 months on the surface to acquaint yourself with the workings of the pit, and then you went underground. So you were gradually taken down, and the pit, at times, you did wonder why you were down there, and you were envious of your mates that were working elsewhere in the fresh air and what have you. But when I think back, I've worked at several jobs, and I've never experienced the camaraderie and laughs that you got with fellow miners. It could be rough and raw at times, but a lot of times they were. And the thing was, I think it was never really appreciated, the culture that emanated for the pits, whether it was in music or art or sports. A lot of it came for the pits, and a lot of, under the National Coal Board, a lot of money came into the communities to sponsor those types of things. And I have to say, after the miners' strike, when the writing was on the wall, that was just left with no support following up. They just sort of whipped the feet for you and let the communities get on, and the mining communities in the area suffered quite badly due to that.
Did you ever risk your life for someone else?
No. I was involved in administering first aid and helping somebody get out the pit that had serious accidents. In fact, that happened on probably half a dozen occasions. One of the times it was a ram, a hydraulic ram, and the boy got his foot caught in the hydraulic ram. Well, it got caught, it was his ankle, and he had the big Wellington boots, and it pressed his foot, and we could see the blood coming out the Wellington. He was lying, but you didn't take the boot off, you keep the boot on because it keeps it compressed. So we got him, and he was in serious pain, but we got him on a stretcher and got him up the pit. But when they taken his boot off in the medical centre, they cut his Wellington boot off, and it had the steel toe caps, and his foot came off in the boot. It totally went right through his ankle. Did
they manage to reattach his?
No, I never did. No.
Is he still alive?
Oh, he was still alive, and he eventually came back to work. He worked on the surface, but it was a serious injury that.
Were you involved with the strikes? Do you want to say anything about them?
I was heavily involved in the strike, both in 1972, just as a miner, in 72 and 74, and in 84 and 85 I was a union official. I was the chairman at Moncton Hall, and with that came a bit more responsibility, but it also added a lot of pressure. I mean, it was a hard time, and it taken its toll. Well, as you know, I mean, in just our area here, there were 151 men were sacked, A lot of them didn't get their job back, got criminal records. I was arrested 4 times. We're now getting pardoned, I believe. The Scottish Parliament have passed a bill that we're going to get a pardon. It wasn't justice. Justice was corrupted. It was conveyor belt justice. You went up and that was it, bang, bang, bang. So I was arrested 4 times. I was banned for going on picket lines, which if I went near a picket line, that was immediate arrest. So, and that was to try and take the organisation away from the miners' union. If you take the officials of the union out, they thought the organisation would collapse. It didn't, but it made things harder. And believe it or not, we proved without a shadow of a doubt that my home telephone was tapped. What we did was we says that we organised a break, and I used the phone for the house. We organised a mass picket to go at the power station, and of course the police responded. The police had bust them in for all over, and they had a mass police presence, and we only sent 2 men to that with no intention of putting a mass picket on. So there were only one way that they could have knew that, and that was the phone was tapped, because the people I was phoning I knew, and it wouldn't be leaked for them, and so they were tapping phones. They were also putting people in, agent provocateurs, as I say, the people that came, we didn't know who they were, offering support and all the rest of it, and they were no doubt that they were there to find out what was being organised and what was happening. But the strike was a hard time. So we come out with that money, and again it was just you had to get some work. I was fortunate. It was easier for me because I had a trade, and guys that had a trade, if you were coming out just with a mining qualification, or you were just but if you were a miner and you didn't have any other skills but mining, you were struggling a bit, because at that time jobs were tight. But I wasn't unemployed for long. But what I found out was Scottish Power again were advertising for electricians. They wanted time-served electricians, and there were 5 years went for jobs. There were 12 jobs, and I didn't know they were going, but I met 5 of my mates that were electricians beside me in the pit, and 4 out of the 5 got a job. I didn't get a job, and that was when I knew that I was on a blacklist for being a union official. Some companies used to look at that. Oh, we know what that. He's a union guy, troublemaker. So I didn't get that job, but I got a job on the building sites. But
is there anything else you'd like to share about your experiences?
Well, just to sum up, I didn't regret 1 minute for it. There were a lot of pluses, a lot of minuses, but I've never worked with men as good as miners. I mean, locally,
Grace Higgins and Liz Taylor and
Robert Young.
On the 17th of June 2022. How accurate is the mining museums compared to the actual mines?
Like any museum, they can only show you what was there. They can't show you it working. To actually get the feel of mining, you'd have to be down a mine, it's working. And go in there and you're working in the dust, you're working in the heat. In actual fact, and the main intake where the air comes down the main road, it takes air in. In the winter time, that was cold, very cold to work in. But once you go into the sections that come off these main roads that go into the coal faces, warm, hot, dusty, and you've got the smells and the noise of machineries and all different things. So a museum can only show you how it was laid out, what the things were. but they can't actually give you the experience being in a working environment.
Do you have any funny stories from being in
Stories? What kind of stories?
Just ones that make you laugh, ones that are like memorable.
Oh, well, we used to get up to the antics. You mentioned about toilets. Now, the toilets, as I said, there was a manhole cut into the side of the roadway, and they had it in, and it would have this cloth stuff hanging down, like a thick cloth stuff. That was your privacy screen. And when you used to get a new pair of wellies, you take your old ones down and you used to put them inside the manhole, but you used to stick the feet under the cover at an angle, so somebody passing thinks there's something in there. And there was a guy walking back and forth, and there was two of us, and honestly, we were poorly, we were hiding up the road a little bit, and he was back and forth because they thought somebody was in there. And all it was just a pair of wellies sticking out, No, I had lots of good laughs in the pit, but as I said, we all worked together and we all helped each other. And, there's loads of stories. Absolutely brilliant. See, the friendship in the pits was, never experienced that again. It wasn't small groups, it was big groups that went about, and we all socialised together. It was absolutely fantastic days. And the thing is, when you went down on that cage, everybody was in the same boat. Everybody had the same. You're down that pit. Various jobs down in the pits. Everybody played a part. But we're on the same boat. So you couldn't say this. That one's better than that guy, because they're all just playing a part. But I really miss it, and a lot of good friends, and a lot of people. They're no longer here now, and the characters. Honestly, there's some characters that was in the pits. These comedians you see on the television, put them to shame, with the stories and the jokes, and absolutely fantastic. If I was fit and able and they opened the pit tomorrow, I'd go. Same as the strike. If I had to go and strike again, I would do it. But you're fighting for your rights. If you think back, long before your time, before my time, and people had nothing. People's front door was left open at night. There's nothing to steal. Everybody had the same. But when you gradually start getting money through working classes striking and looking for better pay and conditions, this is where you got your holiday pay, your sick pay, your mother getting your farm allowance, and all these things. These were all fought for by the working class, and miners played a big part in that, because they fought for everything they could get, and people started getting a wee bit better off, a wee bit better off, and a wee bit better off. But even when I left the pit, the wages still weren't enough. Could have done with more. But in industry will be the same.
In 2006 there was a mural festival here, and it's part of a world mural festival that goes around mural towns, and Preston Pans got to host it in 2006, and so we did all these murals, and they were important to me because my dad was a miner, and my grandfather and his family actually came to live over here to work in the pits. And so there was family tragedy. My grandfather's brother, 8-year-old or 10-year-old, died here making the brickworks. So these murals were quite important to me, just on that level. But there was a crew of about 10 of us working on them, including my dad. whose hands I've incorporated into one of the murals holding the soap, because this is the Pithead Bath building, and which is listed now. They can't do anything with this, but I know that there's plans to do more around here, but this building has to stay because it was very important that they won the right to get clean on the pit's time as opposed to their own time, and they got free soap, imagine. So they had to battle for that. So that's why these murals are important to me. It's part of my family history. So what you're doing now is just what I did, and I just went around and looked at everything, and then I took photographs and did some sketches and stuff, because everything that's here is essentially real. So when you're looking at this stuff, you're looking at what was really used. And as we see from this, we're talking 800 years worth, which is a time frame it's quite hard to comprehend even for an adult. It's just an extraordinary amount of time that these people worked here and lived here. So these things, even though they're in glass boxes just now, you know, they were fundamental to this place. So really what I did was I just took photographs and stuff and used these images to create the murals. And I think we're pretty much just going to go around and have a quick look at the murals, or what's left of them, so you can see the work that went into them and roughly give you ideas about what maybe we're going to work on next. And then we're just going to do a wee bit of drawing and painting and stuff. So this is the building I was talking about, the Pithead Baths, and if you go inside, it's still got the old tiling and everything there. This is one of the big murals, and you can see we just lifted all the images that we were talking about. You can still see roughly what it was. There's my dad's hands with the bar of soap, and it says, I think it says PHB on it. And that was the image of my grandfather and his brother and his mum. So we'll just wander around and have a look at some more of them. As even the ones that are lying on the ground. There's one of the lanterns. We've got an old shovel here, and we've got another helmet, and then the big pickaxe, and you can see the design is this sort of red sort of a wheel, which I based on, if you just look over there, the big wheel up there. And the colours just keep into these kind of reds, these earthy reds like brick and stuff like that. So these are all ideas that we just incorporated into the design that you can think about.
You don't know.
I'm gonna get like a picture of that.
What?
So just think of
that. I've never really been here before.
I have. I've never really noticed the mural. I knew there were paintings, but I didn't know the whole story behind it. But like, we were here with the school, weren't we? I remember we walked up here.
Yeah, we saw some of the murals, like past the main road.
But I didn't know like
what
the
they
story behind
meant in that.
Do you think you would kind of look at them differently now, or?
Probably.
Probably, yeah. Because there's a story behind it. Like before, you just see like the photo with people, but now you know the story that it was miners, and like how the baths are there because miners got all black from the coal.
At times, you did wonder why you were down there, and you were envious of your mates that were working elsewhere in the fresh air. But I've never worked with men as good as miners.
The best thing, camaraderie. Just being good neighbours, Ken.
To actually get the feel of mining, you'd have to be down a mine. It's working. and going there and you're working in the dust, you're working in the heat. The thing is, when you went down on that cage, everybody was in the same boat, fighting for your rights. I really miss it, and if I was fit and able and they opened up it tomorrow, I'd go.